All right, dude. So the truth, reliability. I think it's the luck of the draw. You know, with my E90, I've had a good amount of issues. But you've had a clean run with it.
Well, actually, one fun thing that, again, nobody talks about is what happens when your alternator goes bad and your car's DCT. Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm also Matt.
And we're Shift Society. We're here to bring you car reviews, modded cars, and car comparisons for the everyday person that wants to know what it's really like to buy these cars, own these cars, and mod these cars.
So speaking about modding and owning these different cars, we have here two of the most compared and debated M cars that available today. On the right-hand side, we've got an F80 M3. On the left-hand side, we've got an E90 M3 with the legendary V8. Never before, never again.
That's right, never before and never again, and that's for a reason. These cars are heavily debated. Everybody always talks about one's better than the other, and I think in the market right now, these cars are right around the same price point. If you get an older F80 with a little bit higher mileage compared to maybe
a cleaner E90,
right. They're gonna set about right around the same price point.
You know, personally, Matt, I think the E90 is gonna be the last real M car ever made.
Well, personally, I think the E90 is slow.
Well, personally, I think the F80 sounds like a bag of Pringles rolling down the street. To introduce you to our 2008 E90 M3. This one has the 4-liter V8 and the DCT, arguably the best sounding V8 to exist. It's a bolt-on car. So it's gonna have an active auto work drop-in filter, active auto work center section, and an active auto work rear section.
And active auto works tune. This guy really likes active auto works.
It's your car, idiot.
Oh yeah.
So another thing this car has is just lowered on H&R springs with some camber plates. It's also sitting on a nice little street track setup Apex wheel wrapped in some Michelins.
I've pretty much done all the maintenance, rod bearings, throttle, actuators, NRW covers, which is a huge thing on these cars.
Right.
Other than the subframe bushings and diff bushings and guibo, the car really hasn't given me any issues at all. This car has 150,000 miles on it right now. I've done a ton of track days in it, and it literally doesn't leak oils, never really given me a problem, other than the random check engine light from time to time. But when you own these cars, you got to have like a code reader, that's for sure.
And this has just been our experience. I mean, I've had friends that bought an E90 M3 and literally blew it up the next week.
Why do you gotta say that? Why do you gotta say that to the people? They're great cars. I recommend them. So this car is basically like, the typical shit that everybody does in order to make it look OEM plus, right? You got IND blacked out turn signals with the LEDs. I think it looks much better.
Right.
The Euro bumper mod.
Euro bumper mod?
Yeah. You paint the turn signals white.
Boy, if you don't.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Bro, you know what a Euro bumper is?
Yeah, it has no turn signals. Anyways, carbon fiber front lip, IND tow hook.
You're a poser.
Ram air kit.
Ram air kit?
Yeah.
What is this, 2008?
Yeah, actually. I put a lot of work into this car. Carbon fiber lip, like I said, carbon fiber roof.
Wrap. Carbon fiber roof wrap.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about that?
Yeah, carbon fiber roof wrap. Yeah.
Carbon fiber roof.
Yeah, it looks
wrap.
great though. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Start off with the back end. We've got a really, really common swap for the pre-LCI cars. This is gonna be the LCI conversion. And I happen to score this trunk, Daddy Matt over here, LCI trunk with some LCI taillights. Now, you technically can pull this trunk and taillights from the junkyard, so it's a really cheap and common swap to do.
And they're so common that they're easy to find the same color. I was lucky enough to score this trunk in Alpine White. If you do score the LCI trunk, you have to get new taillights and you have to code them in. So make sure that if you know someone with a coder, just get the coder. It doesn't cost much. I use MHD with Beamer code, and it works great.
This is the problem child and why you don't buy an F80 and you buy an E90.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into that. Again, full bolt-on, active auto works, signature exhaust, active auto works downpipes, active auto works tune.
Man, this guy
really likes active auto works.
I wonder.
I don't know, come play with power, right? Now sponsor. This car made right around 550 wheel, about 588 torque. Manual transmission, that's kind of where I went wrong.
That's where you get into
a lot of problems.
A lot of money.
So a lot of people don't talk about this, and I never see it because maybe there's just not enough manual M3s. Just from slamming gears and launching this car, I've gone through 3 diffs, 2 axles, 3 drive shafts.
Sounds like a lot of money to me.
It doesn't like to slam gears. You can't really slam gears.
Sounds like you could have bought an E90 for the amount of repairs that you've put into an F80.
Well, shout out eBay. This car, like I said, basic. It's lowered on H&R springs. I wanted to keep the EDC, same story. Apex Arc 8s, 19 by 10 squared, 275 squared. VSRF front mount intakes. CS hood.
Don't get me started on you and your hood, bro. And your CS hood.
It's a CS
How about
hood.
we look at this eBay special gapping right here, brother?
I don't know what you're talking about.
98% of you guys with a CS hood on your F80 M3 are liars.
You know
They're
what?
Fake.
Who wants to spend $5,000 on a hood? This hood was $700. It doesn't line up the
bucks.
best. The F80 just has those weird body lines. The stock hood has big gaps. If you look closely, the stock hood has big gaps.
Really?
It does. It's
I'd love
not
to
like
see it.
that thing of beauty over there. Yeah, so this car is pretty basic, like I said. I wanted to go with that OEM plus look. You know, executive package, carbon fiber roof, real carbon fiber. Yeah.
Roof.
You know, so just a little carbon fiber accents. Like I said, Active Auto Works, blacked out tip.
Pringle can rolling down the street. Absolute symphony of a
Okay,
V8.
so I will actually disagree with that.
Whoa!
I will disagree with
Better have
that.
a good
As
argument
far
for this,
as a
brother.
full bolt-on F80 goes with downpipes, the Active Auto Works full signature exhaust is the best sounding exhaust, in my opinion.
I will agree with you there.
It does have the valves. The exhaust that makes the most power. It's a full 3.5-inch single all the way back with Active Auto Works downpipes. Like I said, did I say Active Auto Works?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Not a sponsor. You know, I see a lot of guys talk about the Active Auto Works equal length exhaust. I did not go with that. The numbers on that exhaust are kind of similar to stock. It's more for sound. It's more to kind of keep the rasp away.
Talking about the 6 horsepower difference.
Yeah, it's not really that much.
I guess
difference.
every horse matters when you have a slow F80.
No. Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah. BMW North America called and said we actually have to be serious and review these cars.
That's not fair. They stopped making the S65.
Stop making the S65 for a reason, dude, okay?
So I personally have driven a lot of different F80s and a lot of different E90s extremely hard. My personal opinion, I think if you're looking for that everyday executive car, you enjoy just like hopping in, you know, with your cup of coffee.
Running into crowds?
Running into crowds?
Yeah.
F80s?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess they are like the new Mustang.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like your executive car that also gets down when you wanna get down.
I think it gets really down. Mod for mod, you're getting a whole lot of car out of this.
Right.
It's got an immense amount of torque. And the cool thing is that the features of the car, you know, you are gonna have that modern tech, the modern iDrive. You're gonna have a CarPlay on some after a certain year, I think 2018 or 17, and that is, you know, really cool. Now,
hang on, wait. Do your thing.
Yeah. Distractions, right? Anyways, this car for me is I mean, I'm gonna say it, even though it's controversial, this is more of what an M car truly is or truly was from my generation. You know, I grew up with E36s and E46s, and this falls right in line with that. It handles amazing, even though it weighs a lot more than this.
Right.
Well,
No,
you know, I think the interior and the features hold up well. You get a 2011, it's a similar iDrive to this.
I get asked all the time, is that a 2018? No, ma'am, it's a 2008.
And that's from a Toyota Corolla owner.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Here we are in the F80 M3.
F80 M3, yeah. So we're gonna take it for a little
Manual.
Manual F80 M3.
Yeah, 3 pedals. It is really fun to drive. Like, it is really notchy. It's hard to get used to if you're used to another brand car.
I would agree with that. BMW's manuals drive completely different than any other manual vehicle I've ever driven.
This one's kind of weird because it's kind of hard to get used to, like the throttle by wire. Steering is kind of, it feels super loose when it's in like the comfort mode and super tight in the sport mode.
I call it very arcadey. It almost feels like you're playing a video game driving one of these cars.
This car is very snappy all the way around. If you ride first gear, it's kind of jolting on you a little bit if you tap the gas. It was a lot better when it was in stock form. Like a stock F80 M3 it feels really good. I think when you modify it, everything just becomes super tight, super refined, and a little bit harder to drive. But yeah, I mean, it's got the torque to bring it up. It's got a lot of power.
Let's feel some of that torque.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's get a little.
This car's fast, dude. I will say that. That is. I can't get over the torque.
I recommend anybody that buys this car, tunes it, modifies it, please use MDM. That's what it, you know, like that's what it's
where
there
everything
for.
goes wrong is
because
when
like I'll
somebody
give you an
decides to go
example.
full
Let's
traction
see. Right now, full power mode, no traction control. You know,
gear.
second gear pull, no traction.
Nothing.
You know, it's just
And that gets out of hand real quick,
fast.
especially in the DCT cars, because you just rack up those gears, you rack up the wheel speed. And once that wheel speed gets too high, it gets real sketchy real quick. And that's how you see a lot of the Mustang action.
Yeah, you got to be ready for it. You know, learn how to counter steer. They go into a corner, the car handles great, okay? Go into a corner, you have your M2 mode set into, you know, no traction control, and you go to hit that gas, that car's gonna snap out on you immediately.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's where I think the E90 for that, what I said earlier.
Very linear.
Torque is a lot lower, and the car's just more forgiving. The downside to modding these cars too is usable power.
Right.
A lot of people don't talk about that. This car, yes, this is more of a track-inspired setup. A lot of people run the 295 in the rear, 305 in the rear, 11-inch wide wheels. On a street tire, this car's still gonna break that loose.
Yeah, 100%.
You're never gonna hook this car up like that.
Nope.
If it's full bolt-on. If it's stock, it's an amazing car.
Yeah,
stock
I agree. And I think after owning modified cars and after owning stock forms of the car, I almost prefer having a stock M car.
When this car was in stock form, I had no problem slamming gears. I had no problem pulling super sick slides wherever, clutch kicking, dumping it. I mean, I still do it. I've broken things, yeah, but that was also trying to launch the car at a drag strip. That was also slamming gears when I didn't have the subframe bushings done, when I didn't have the diff mount done.
Right.
You know, the polyurethane diff bushings with the diff brace, I got all that done. Now, if you notice when I did that pull, there's really no wheel hop.
Yeah, it was
These cars do have a tendency to wheel hop. That's just what it is. And that's when you start breaking stuff, when you start getting into that down the road. Like I said, you buy this car, you do full bolt-on, just be ready for it. There's not an X drive. All right, you G80 guys, I know how y'all feel about your X drives.
Yeah.
I did a track day. It was just too much car for me to have fun with at the track when it was full bolt-on. Yeah, it still handled like an M car and everything like that, but you know, driving it with no traction control, driving it, trying to pull off those skids, everything becomes more abrupt, and that's kind of like the difficult part about it.
Now, me as a manual E90 owner, definitely right off the bat, different car. Clutch feels way different.
Super light.
Yeah, super light.
Yeah.
Like I said, it almost feels like a simulator at this point. But I will say, for an F80, this sounds great.
And the thing is, the front-facing intakes is the only way you're gonna get those turbo noises, and let me tell you, it is pretty sick.
I feel like we have both been through the same phase before, where we wanted to be hot boy, loud, this and that, whatever. And I feel like, you know, now we're not all about that anymore.
Yeah, it's like,
and there's nothing wrong with it.
It's just, what do you want?
It's just a phase that everyone goes through.
Yeah. I don't put burbles on my cars, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one thing I also noticed too just now is not only do you have the auto blip for downshifts, but you have the auto rev match for upshifts.
Yeah, it kind of holds the RPM a little.
And like I said, like, you know, it's a great handling car, but I really don't get the feel and the just rawness that you do with the E90. I feel like,
and also too, this car and my E90 are set up exactly the same way.
Exactly the same way.
Same suspension, same alignment, same everything. But this car feels a little loose. Even like it feels, I don't know, like compared to E90, it feels a lot tighter. Like the suspension is kind of, you know, but it's amazing for daily driving. This car is cool because it does have all like the, you know, all the cameras.
The knickknacks.
Yeah, it's got cameras on the bumpers, cameras for the 3D view. It is nice to have those features for sure. All right, E90 M3 with DCT1
and the legendary V8 M3. Never before, never again. Best motor ever made, except for when it blows up.
These cars, you gotta warm them up.
Yeah.
Nobody, you know, this is not a get in and drive car, especially if you're in a northern state.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Like this car in particular, you know, in a northern state struggles. I have CSF oil cooler, CSF radiator.
Yeah.
It takes forever to warm up. Also, mechanical sympathy. Mine revs to 8,600. Don't have it at the rev limiter at 8,600 all day.
When you buy one of these cars, either buy one with rod bearings already done, or factor in the $3 that it's going to take to get them done.
The only time it gets a little weird is when you're coming to a stop sometimes. It's kind of like,
Yeah,
you know, it starts to downshift
it gets a little
on you.
confused.
You know, it's got the M button, it puts it in the power mode. You got your EDC, you got your power button, all that is super cool. I mean, you just can't beat, like, you know, that downshift is incredible.
So that's another thing, is like the E90 M3 over the F80 M3, the F80 is going to be a lot smoother when you're just having it in drive mode.
I think age-wise, it's really held up. The DCT works great. I think this car holds up just fine compared to, you know, newer.
Y'all already know.
Never before,
Never before, and never again. That's why it's the best M3 ever made.
All right, here's a question. I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I had to pick one M3,
I would choose a DCT E90.
It's an E36.
That's
No, I'm
crazy.
just kidding. I'm kidding. I believe this is the most well-rounded of all the M cars. You got the power, you got the track performance, you got the handling,
And
the only thing you don't
You know what
have
else
is
you
fuel
have?
efficiency. Some positives and negatives between manual and DCT for this car would be the 7-speed is sweet.
and just how lightning fast these shifts are, dude. And when you're not getting on it like crazy, it's not like it's gonna like dunk. Like
Yeah, it's not rough or
it's
abrupt.
very smooth through the corner.
Yeah.
So like I'm coming through the corner, right? I'm gonna go into my next gear. It doesn't
Yeah.
unsettle the car. It's
Yeah.
gonna stay very just planted and exactly where it needs to be.
The thing about these cars and why I own both of them is because you got to appreciate them for what they are. All right, dude. So the truth, reliability, what
Honestly,
everybody
man,
talks about.
I think it's the luck of the draw. You know, with my E90, I've had a good amount of issues. But you, I mean, you've had a clean run with it.
Well, actually, one fun thing that, again, nobody talks about is what happens when your alternator goes bad and your car's DCT.
That's a good point.
You can't put it in neutral.
Nope, you cannot put it in neutral. You have to get under the car to put it in neutral.
Yeah, the only time that car, the E90, ever left me on the side of the road was when the alternator went bad.
Right.
And I guess it's a really common problem in those cars.
Rod bearings haven't been an issue for me. I did get them done, you know, fairly quickly. Mine were on the worst side.
And see, mine weren't. Mine were not on the worst side at all.
And we both got them done around the same miles.
Yeah.
I got mine done around probably 120, 130,000.
Mine was like over 130.
Maybe a little less, I don't remember. But still, mine were in terrible condition and yours were in perfect condition. But otherwise, I think really the only issues we'll run into with an E90 are just gonna be simple stuff. Almost 20-year-old cars now.
And that's the hard part when you're buying these cars is you have to realize it's never going to be a true comparison because the F80 is always going to be newer.
Yep.
And it's
F80
always,
is 10 years newer. There's gonna be, you know, you've got different issues, and I'm sure the F80 is gonna have issues in another 10 years.
No, it's bulletproof.
Bulletproof, really. Really.
Well, look, the thing about the F80, I think the big thing is the crank hub, right? Everybody talks about the crank hub. I can tell you that I've personally seen more spun crank hubs than I've seen people sending rods through a block.
I agree. I've seen my fair share of both, but I will say I've seen more crank hubs spin. Even though people say it's a myth and this, that, whatever.
I would
it
say
is
it's not a myth. I've seen people that spun their crank hub 5,000-mile cars.
Yep.
And I've seen people that have, I know, we both have a friend that has almost 200,000 miles on his F80 M3 and has
no
zero
issues.
issues whatsoever.
Yep.
I think BMW really locked down, the turbo issues. I think, to be honest, it is a tough comparison. This E90 we're reviewing today has 150,000 miles. The F80 has 61,000 miles.
So it's never going to be a fair comparison.
Yeah. And then I did the crank hub, so you pretty much change every
Gasket,
seal
yeah.
and gasket in the motor at that point. So it is. So in all honesty, I haven't really had any issues with my E90 at 150,000 miles other than the alternator, and I've had zero issues with the F80. I've never even had a check engine light come on. Yeah, I mean, so really I just think it's personal preference, right? I mean,
at the end of the day, I think it just matters about your budget and about what you're looking to get out of the car.
that's true. And I think how much maintenance you're willing to put into a car, because the truth is, older car, more maintenance. This is kind of how it is.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only real negative downside to owning an E90 is that you're going to get whooped by every F80 M3 and B58
Really?
owner with a downpipe and a tune.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, you're going to get spanked.
Okay. Yeah. Give me 1 second, pal. I got something for you.
Where are you going?
One second, pal.
Where are you going?
Supercharged, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. Supercharged E90.
Yeah.
I wonder how much maintenance this guy's doing.
Whatever.
Yeah, how much that thing costs.